We're not even in training camp yet. This is only the 6th day of OTA practices for the Giants, and we already have a fight. I love it, baby. What is going on, guys? What is going on, 27 Squad? Welcome back into another video. Like I said in the intro, we are covering the 6th day of New York Giants OTA practices. Unlike the Giants media, who think that this is the 5th day, we here on the Kid Blue RB27 channel that has been covering OTAs for many years now always gets it right. As always, before we get into this, guys, if you guys are enjoying the content, make sure you guys hit that like button. It helps me out a lot, and subscribe to the channel if you guys are new here. So let's get into it, man. The Giants are already brawling out there, and it comes from two unsuspecting characters, right? Obviously, with the positions, it makes sense, but never in my right mind would I think the team's best edge rusher right now in Brian Burns, who, by the way, has had more sacks today, more would-be sacks, and he's had, like, multiple would-be sacks, they call them would-be sacks, multiple would-be sacks in every single practice up to this point. Like, he is on an absolute tear. Think about, like, Lorenzo Carter in 2020 during training camp before he got hurt. Like, that type of tear. And the person he got in a fight with was James Hudson, the tackle that the Giants signed in free agency, the backup swing tackle that is literally only has first team reps because Andrew Thomas is not there right now.
Who the fuck is that guy? Who the fuck is that?
So never in my right mind would I gotta see how this started. It seems like James Hudson was the guy talking all of the smack. So apparently Brian Burns and James Hudson took off their helmets and attempted to square up, which is so funny. And then what happened was they were separated. I believe from what it looks like, I think maybe James Hudson was taking off the field, because here in a tweet by Pat Leonard, it says that Hudson rushed the field after Kayvon Thibodeaux punches Jermaine Eluemunor. Wait, why is Kayvon and Jermaine Eluemunor punching each other, man? Those are two of my favorite, besides like Darius Slayton, two of my favorite Twitter personalities on the Giants right now. I don't want those two fighting, man. They're good people. But again, tensions are high. As Brian Burns said in the interview, the heat got to them, and they took off their helmets. Actually, Kayvon punches the helmet off of Jermaine Eluemunor, and then that's when James Hudson, fellow offensive lineman, rushes in to try to save the day. And then that's when Burns and Hudson tackle each other to the ground. Okay, we've seen a lot of instances where guys are getting dragged, right? We saw, who was it? Any of you guys remember when John Feliciano was like slumped on the floor getting dragged by somebody? Was it like Cam Brown, or Cam Brown had something to do with it, that special teams linebacker? Who was the one that slumped John Feliciano? Can somebody remember that photo, that infamous photo? I'll probably know who it was if I look it up. But obviously, that is the big headline of today's practice, so of course I wanted to cover it now, and here's what Brian Burns had to say about that situation.
None. I mean, it's just, it's a violent sport we play. Guys trying to get better. It's just tensions raised a little high. Heat is getting a little hotter, so, guys getting a little more agitated, but it ain't that deep. We squashed it. I feel like it's healthy to a certain extent, though. Like, you still want to get your work done at the end of the day, but that competition and that dog, that edge that we need to have is needed.
Now, I'm not trying to be some sort of instigator. I'm not trying to be some sort of CSI type of investigator guy of like body language and stuff like that. But from what I can tell, there's still some tension there. Usually when you see scuffles and battles, like brawls and stuff like that, when it comes to football players, they usually go, hey, listen, tensions were high. Things got a little heated, but we are so good right now. Like, that's my boy, and we're okay. It didn't seem like that the way Brian Burns was saying it. It seemed like he had a little bit of sodium in his voice. So, hey, I love it. I love the competition. It's crazy to say that in OTAs, especially in the trenches where this stuff really doesn't matter, right? Of course, these guys are competing. Of course, these guys are getting out there trying to get back in shape, but there's no pads. They're really not forcing a lot of contact on each other. They can't hit the quarterback. there's not really a lot that goes on with the defensive line and the offensive line. But the fact that these are the guys getting in heated scuffles and brawls, that's kind of fun. I ain't gonna lie. I wish there was some video on it, but of course the Giants media wouldn't put that out. In other news, we have a breakdown from Connor Hughes. Listen, I am so glad the Giants took Connor Hughes from the Jets. I think he still covers the Jets, but I'm so glad that we have Connor Hughes. I like this guy. He goes in depth when he watches these practices. He gave you the full quarterback breakdown when it came to the stat line for these guys. And Russell Wilson, of course, should have the best stat line because he's the starting quarterback. 10 of 14 for a touchdown and an interception, and 2 would-be sacks, all with the first team. You had Jackson Dart, 5 of 9, 2 interceptions, and a sack. He had 1 first-team rep, 8 second-team reps, and 1 third-team rep. And then you have Jameis Winston, 4 of 8 with 2 runs, so no touchdowns, no interceptions, surprisingly so. 1 first-team rep, 5 second-team reps, and 6 third-team reps. That's what a lot of people think, that just because where you are as a quarterback is that's where the kind of reps that you're taking. A lot of these times they mix and match them because they want to see what the lower quarterbacks can do. So they'll put like Jackson Dart with the first team or second team, this, that, and the third. So a guy like Jameis Winston is going to be taking the snaps left over. As far as Jackson Dart goes, listen, he's going to struggle, right? I don't want anybody to listen. If anybody should be like critiquing Jackson Dart, it's me, okay? Everybody knows that I'm not the biggest Jackson Dart guy, but I see this during OTA practices. After he's had already some decent practices, you're going to have one bad practice, right? You're going to have one where the defense is just figuring you out. Maybe you're getting in your own head a little bit. Maybe you're just confused about what you're seeing out there. There's going to be some times where it doesn't go your way, especially as a rookie quarterback, especially for a guy like Jackson Dart, who everybody knows is not ready to start yet. He is developmental. I don't think this is anything to be worried about. I've already seen headlines on this when this tweet came out that he was 5 of 9 for 2 picks. It's going to happen. Let's just wait and see what happens, especially in things like training camp and the preseason. The preseason would be a good way to figure out what he's learned thus far, but this is OTAs, guys. Who cares? All right, and I wanted to talk about the defense a little bit. We've got Dane Belton. I don't know how many times I've talked about Dane Belton already. It's unbelievable. I think I've mentioned him in almost every single practice already. He's had 3 interceptions in 6 practices. He got his 3rd one today. This one wasn't a pick 6, but the prior 2 were. So Dane Belton is off to an amazing start. I'm looking to see him have a Landon Collins 2016 season. I don't know, but he's looking like an absolute all-star right now. What is going on? I'm telling you, he's taking Darnay Holmes' spot. I was telling you guys that from my last practice video, Darnay Holmes was always the guy getting interceptions, popping the ball out, taking the ball the other way for a pick 6. Like, he's always been doing that in practices, but doesn't do that on the field. Like, it just wasn't a great player. Dane Belton seems to be taking that spot. Hopefully Dane Belton plays well during the season, but man, it just seems like he's a practice warrior. We had some more interceptions today. Trey Hawkins defended a back shoulder throw from Jackson Dart. And that one's interesting because Jackson Dart knows how to throw the back shoulder from what I've seen on film. He knows very well how to throw the back shoulder. And on top of that, Trey Hawkins had another play last practice where he defended a back shoulder pass, where he deflected a pass on a back shoulder. So, I mean, that's good from Trey Hawkins, man. I'm excited to see. Hopefully he has a little bit of a resurgence where I don't expect him to start, but I would love to see him fight for depth in here with this team, and if he is needed, if his name is called upon, that he's able to perform. But I really like Trey Hawkins, man. And we have another interception by Makari Page, the undrafted free agent safety out of Michigan. I like him. He's a heavy hitter, even though he's a little bit as far as undersized, as far as muscle mass goes. But he's like 6'4", 215, I want to say, around there. And man, he's long, lanky, and he gets after the football. And he had an interception off of a deflected pass today. In other news, Cordell Flott and O'Donnell Fortune, the undrafted corner out of South Carolina, had pass deflections. Very excited about Cordell Flott. He's had a lot of pass deflections, multiple practices. So that's good to see. Abdul Carter also had a would-be sack as well. I believe that's his second or third of these OTA practices. He's starting to get the hang of things. Speaking of Abdul Carter and speaking about this defense as a whole, Shane Bowen was on another press conference in which he was asked about having a lot of players for one position, more specifically the edge rusher position with Kayvon, Brian Burns, and Abdul Carter, and how do you go about using these guys? This is what he had to say. He said, "You got 3 guys for 2 spots. From the outside looking in, ultimately, we got to get our best 11 on the field." I told you guys, you got to find a way to have all these guys on the field at once. And of course, that means sacrificing another spot, which I believe is probably going to be Micah McFadden. But you're going to have guys like Dexter Lawrence, Kayvon Thibodeaux, Abdul Carter, Brian Burns, and Bobby Okereke on the field at the same time. Like, things shouldn't go wrong. Now, I'm not here to say that Abdul Carter should be an off-ball linebacker just to get all these guys on the field at the same time, but you can put in certain packages that allow them to do that because Abdul Carter can play off-ball linebacker. And of course, you're going to be able to rotate him in with either Brian Burns or Kayvon Thibodeaux to have some edge rushing snaps, but you've got to find a way. You have to be creative enough to incorporate everybody in here and get your best 11 on the field at least sometimes. Obviously, you don't want to have Abdul Carter just be an off-ball linebacker now because you don't have anywhere else to put him, and you want to have your best 11 out there. You don't want to always do that. But, I mean, you got to find a way to use these guys, and I'm happy that Shane Bowen comes to that conclusion and kind of hints that that's going to be the case. So, that's going to be a scary front seven. Holy moly. Brian Burns also expressed the same sentiment in his presser at the end when they were talking about the amount of talent that they have there. He says, pretty much pick your poison, and we also have a Dex. Which reminds me about what Tony Stark said to Loki in 2012.
I have an army. We have a Hulk.
But that's it. I love to see it, man. This was another good practice. This was the last practice of this week. They're going to be back, I believe, on Monday, and then we'll have the 7th OTA practice, and then we'll wrap up OTA practices, and we'll head over to mandatory minicamp. So, that being said, leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Leave a like if you guys enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, and we'll see you guys very, very soon.